Assalamualaikum and greetings. I'm OOC BSR205 Building Surveying and Practice 1. Module 3 Introductions to Building Defects. The topic 3.1 Building Defects and presented by me, Suryani Nga Abdul Wahab. The first slide, what skill does a building surveyor need? The surveyor needs a technical knowledge and competence, a logical and practical mind, the ability to analyze problems in order to identify solutions. 2A Topic Learning Outcomes. At the end of the class, the student will be able to understand the types of building defects and its categories, and the student will be able to know the possible sources of building defects, and students will be able to understand the criteria to minimize the building defects. 2B Topic Learning Outcomes. The first is what skill does a building surveyor need? 2. Topic Learning Outcome. 3. Why it is important to know building defects and causes of defects. 4A Definitions of defect. 4B What is building defects. 4C Defect inspections. 4D Agents of defects or common sources. 4E Factors to minimize building defects. 5. Resource available. 3. Why it is important to know building defects and causes of defects. It is to overcome consequences of building defects, and it can be summarized such as building collapse, material wastage, loss of prestige of the owner, loss of lives, loss of the building's aesthetic values, increase in the cost of maintenance, shortage of manpower, loss of money invested, and etc. Here is a YouTube link to see the importance of why we need to know the building defects and cause of defects. 4A Definitions of defects. According to the Oxford Language Dictionary, defects is a shortcoming, imperfections, or lacks. However, according to the wikipedia.org, a defect is a physical, functional, or aesthetic attribute of a product or service that exhibits that the product or service fail to meet one of the desired specifications. 4B Definitions of building defects. According to the Malcolm Hollis 2005, building defect is areas of non-compliance to the bylaw, regulations, standard, and out of acceptable conditions. According to the BS3811 Code of Practice British Standard 1984, defects are defined as the deteriorations of building features and services to unsatisfactory quality levels of requirements of the users. According to the Adi Ifanchiani 2012, the building defect is an apparent defect has been perceived when it is just felt wrong. Someone heard something, something smells strange, it looked wrong, something felt. 4C Defect inspections. There are 5 various indicators of the building defects before we conduct the defect inspections. The first is visual. We can see the symptoms, staining or cracking on the material of the building elements. Number 2 is physical. We can see the structural failures. Number 3 is olfactory. We can smell and odors. Number 4 is aural. We can hear the water hammer of the plumbing system. Number 5, tactile, or we can see or we can feel uneven surfaces of the material. Okay, next is defect inspection stages. The first stage, inspect the defects closely. Next, we need to record the defect by description, measurement, photograph or sketch drawing. Next, we inspect and examine the constructions around the fault for other indications of the problems or related defects. We need to look internally, externally, and adjacent elements and check if other hidden parts of the building could be affected. Then, ascertain as accurately as possible the exact form of the construction. Next, we need to examine construction drawing, specifications if available, for detailed information on the fabric of the building. Then, we need to test defect if applicable. We need to know the moisture content, relative humidity, and then we need to take samples for analysis. And don't forget to use non-destructive survey. We will inspect the hidden areas. Next, we need to examine maintenance manual if available. And don't forget to open up the structure if required. Last, we need to discuss the problem with the occupants of the building. When was the defect first noticed and progressing? For D1, agents of defects or common sources, there are 6 main agents of changes. The first is wear and tear. Wear and tear is the damage that happens to an object in ordinary use during a period. Next is applied forces. Applied forces is a force that is applied to an object by a person or another object. For example, ground movement or traffic vibrations. Next is the gases and liquid. This agent can cause dampness, chemical attack on the material or elements of the buildings. Next is the biological agents. Biological agents include microorganisms and can cause rot, growth of the mold and fungi at the building materials. Next is the climate or temperature. The changes of climate and temperature will affect the exterior of the buildings, degradations of the building elements such as roof, walls, and etc. The last one is a fire. The severe fire, the temperature may rapidly increase within a short period of time. The concrete of the building structure will damage. The failure could occur from loss of bending or tensile strength, loss of bond strength, loss of shear, and etc. For D2, agent of defects or common sources, the causes of defects. There are 6 basic causes of building defects. The first is due to the design specifications. Number 2 is material and workmanship. Number 3 is operations and maintenance. Number 4 is environmental impacts. Number 5 is due to aging process. And number 6, vandalism and incompatible change. For E, factors to minimize building defects. How to minimize the building defects? The first is maintenance. Maintenance management. Preventive maintenance management. Periodic inspections or replacements of the defects. Continuous monitoring of the defects. Smart material and intelligent BMS or building management system. Built-in automatic feedback system. And protections or upgrading or strengthening. 5. Resources available. Let's refer to the resources available. The first is about common building defects, and the second is a building defect assessment.